What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to episode 2 of this series, The Pursuit of the Physique. A little bit of a tongue twister that, but anyway, welcome back to my channel guys. Hope everything's going well with you, hope you're enjoying the content so far. I'm very aware that I have missed out on quite a large proportion of my prep in terms of videoing it and tracking it via the medium of YouTube essentially. I don't regret it because my main focus has been on this prep and essentially getting a hell of a lot of body fat off my physique, but it's going very well so far. And essentially this video is just going to be taking you through absolutely everything you guys want to know, if you actually do care about how my prep's going. But anyway, this episode 2 is going to be taking you through absolutely everything you need to know in terms of how I'm doing my prep, and hopefully you guys can learn a little bit along the way in terms of translating the information you gain from this into your own fat loss phase, and possibly give you guys the inspiration and sort of motivation to compete one day yourself. So this episode, as I said, just going to be giving you an overview of everything. I do have my phone here. If I'm looking down at my phone quite a lot, that is why. So essentially in this video guys, I'm going to be giving you an overview of my prep, my general goals and plans with competing this year, in this contest season. I'm going to be taking you through the next few weeks of my prep, the goals of it, how I'm gonna execute this next few weeks. I'll then also be going into detail, which will be good fun. I'm sure AJ will like this. The details of AJ as a coach, how I'm finding the coaching experience. I'm going away in around 10 days time to Morocco, so I'm going to be taking you guys through what I'm doing to essentially plan that whole process and plan that whole holiday and stay on track whilst I'm away. I'm going to be taking you through my sort of daily routine, not through a day of the life essentially videoing it, but I'm just going to take you through my daily routine, how my day works, my coping strategies for prep, the truths of prep, the sort of the dark side of prep essentially, and the actual sort of what prep entails in terms of especially a mindset perspective. And then my ultimate goals for competing essentially this time round, and my long-term goals in terms of competing as well. I may chop and change locations during this. I'd like to call it a Q&A slash podcast slash update video, purely because there's going to be quite a lot of content on here, so I don't want to just have this background during the whole video, so I might switch locations around. But anyway, onto the video. So these questions, they're basically questions that I've asked myself, and they're questions that a lot of people have asked me, but essentially this whole video is just going to be answering absolutely everything I've been through and I'm about to go through, okay? So in terms of an overview of prep, I'll put my phone here just so I'm looking at the camera. Overview of prep, how's it going? Prep is going very, very, very well. I absolutely love prep. I love the process of it, and that might sound pretty crazy to some people due to the sort of circumstances you go through whilst on prep. You know, relatively low calories, high expenditure, lots of training, lots of posing, and it is tough, don't get me wrong, but I absolutely love it. So it's going very well. I started this process. I may pop up some physique shots, by the way, throughout the video, but in terms of how prep's going, I started prep in October time. I was 95 kg, very fluffy, but I was big. You know, I did have a relatively decent amount of muscle mass under that fluff. So yeah, I started prep at 95 kg. I'm now floating around 83, 84 kg. My weight is fluctuating quite a lot at the moment. That's why I need to make sure everything is consistent. I've spoken to AJ about this. Everything just needs to be on point. Everything needs to be completely robotic, day in, day out, the same thing. So essentially I've, you know, dropped well over 10 kg, which is great. I'm not sure how that translates into pounds, but a very, very decent amount of fat loss has been obtained essentially. in terms of the effects and how I'm feeling it, I do get a little bit tired sometimes. It is difficult, as I said. The thing I struggle most with is essentially balancing other elements of life with this whole process. This process is relatively restrictive on your overall lifestyle. Like I can do things that I used to do in terms of when I was in a surplus, but you know, it can get a little bit lonely on prep, to be honest with you. I have a great support network. I have the best friends, I have the best parents, I have the best family. You know, I have a great support network around me, which is absolutely incredible, and that makes everything really, really easy. Well, as easy as possible. So in terms of nutritional stuff, I started prep on around 2,600 calories. And then it dropped to 2,400 on a rest day. And then in terms of how it worked out from now, the nutritional changes, I'm now on just over 2,000 calories on a training day and 1,900 on a rest day. You know, now we're digging for ultimate fat loss, really just getting off the last bits. Still a lot of fat loss needs to occur, but we're definitely on track. The time I'm filming this, I'm essentially 5.5 weeks out from Body Power. I'll go into all my shows later on in the video. In terms of training, I've been on the same training split for the whole split, the whole fat loss phase slash prep phase. I've been doing a pull push legs off upper lower split, 2 rest days, 5 training days a week. Absolutely incredibly successful split. I've progressed pretty much everything. Strength is still at an all-time high. You know, so I haven't really lost too much strength. If anything, I've progressed most of my lifts throughout the whole of prep. A few lifts have started to drop, but I am clinging onto them with dear life. So yeah, training's going well. In terms of cardio and steps, I'm doing 5 sessions a week of cardio. That's lifts, so low intensity. To be honest, I wouldn't class it as lifts. I'd call it in that sort of medium range. Definitely not. I definitely don't do any HIIT at the moment. I might have to towards the later stages of prep, but I highly doubt it. So yeah, 30 minutes of lifts 5 times a day. That's on my pulling days, my upper days, my pushing days, and my rest days. I don't do cardio on leg day. 15,000 steps a day. I usually get 15,000 steps in a day by essentially going on a walk in the afternoon, just a walk before I go to the gym as well, and then a few thousand steps in after my training sessions just on the treadmill. So that's how it's going with that. In terms of supplementation, just the usual things, whey protein, the odd pre-workout here and there. In terms of caffeine sources, pretty much caffeine, in terms of caffeine sources, pretty much coffee, and you know, multivitamins, fish oils, creatine, and then EAAs and highly branched cyclic dextrin for intra-workout. So in regards to my goals for competing this year, as it is my first season competing, I simply just want to enjoy the process as much as possible. I want to make the process as fun as possible, make it the most enjoyable process of my life essentially so far. As I said, it's very difficult, it's very demanding, it's very challenging, but you know, my enjoyment and my love and passion for this sport, my love for bodybuilding, my love for fitness, my love for gym completely exceeds and goes way beyond the challenges. I absolutely love it. You know, and I hear people a lot complaining about you know, dieting phases and competing and prep. And don't get me wrong, it's difficult. I've done my fair share of complaining, but when you're in a dieting phase, when you're competing, you just need to realise that you are the person putting this process upon yourself. You know, I can essentially stop competing. Be up to me. You know, I'm the one leading this process. Although I've got a coach, although I've got, you know, pressures of competing, I just, you know, I'm doing this process because I love bodybuilding and I love fitness and I love gym, and essentially my main goal of this prep is to just simply milk the absolute enjoyment out of it, just absolutely love the process. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be, you know, there's going to be lows, and there has been lows, but the majority of it is there for enjoyment. And I think when people prep, when people compete, they take it, you should take it seriously and you should enjoy the process, but at the end of the day, you're doing this for fun. Competing is meant to be enjoyable. Obviously there's things that come off the back in terms of competing. You look in incredible shape, that may result in more clients and things like that. At the end of the day, it's the world we live in. People like, especially on Instagram, people like pretty ripped bodies, and of course the benefits of that are going to come out of it. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this process for me and I absolutely love it, as I've said about 15 times already. But yeah, just really enjoy like the whole process of it. Just enjoying show days as well, and just really enjoying it, as you can tell by my face. I just love it. Really enjoy the show day, really enjoy the whole experience. I've got a few people coming to watch me, so I need to do them proud, but at the end of the day, just enjoy it, and learn a lot. I've learned so much in this process. These past four and a half, 5 months, I have learnt so much. Whether that's through AJ teaching me stuff, through the coaching experience, whether it's listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, going on seminars, with my uni degree as well, I've learnt so much, and this whole process has just developed me into a completely new person, in my opinion. My levels of dedication and passion have just gone through the absolute roof. I'm doing stuff that I wouldn't have even thought of like a year ago, 6 months ago. Developing an online coaching business, which is something I would not have done without competing. It allows me to channel my energy into something other than just competing. I'm enabled to essentially transform people's bodies and lives through through social media and through online coaching, which is absolutely incredible. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without without prepping, without going through this process. So essentially those are my goals of competing, and that's sort of my rationale around competing. And of course getting a win would be absolutely amazing. My goal is to do, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to win. I'm in this to win. But at the end of the day, if that doesn't come, I just know that I've given absolutely everything to this process. And yeah, essentially, as I said 15 times, just to enjoy it, basically. So in terms of my general plans with competing, dates, etc., shows I'm doing, classes I'm doing. So my plan with competing this year, my first show is going to be Body Power. I've always wanted to compete at Body Power. I've been to Body Power since like 2015, when I sort of first started getting into fitness and gym, and following all the influencers there. But this Body Power experience and this Body Power year is going to be slightly different, as I will be on the main stage competing, which is going to be absolutely incredible. My first show, as I said, Body Power, it's on the 10th of May, so I'm 5.5 weeks out from that. I will be competing in men's physique for that show. I believe the federation is UK Up, so UK UP. Great federation. I'm going to be doing junior physique with them. All the hotels are booked, transport's booked, so we're all good to go with shows. I know a few boys competing who are going to be in the same class. My mate Ben, I know he's competing. Aaron, he's competing, and a few other lads are competing as well, which is great. So that's going to be good fun. A nice bit of friendly competition. And then the USN Classic with the UK DFBA 7 weeks later. Again, a men's physique show. The USN Classic and the Scottish show I'm doing after the USN Classic, the Scottish show, those are both for the UK DFBA, so they're both drug tested shows, as I am a natural bodybuilder. And then the Scottish show is 12 weeks away, so I'm 12 weeks out from that, so I do have a pretty significant amount of time to nail everything in, so 12 weeks out from that, and I'm going to be doing junior bodybuilding there. So 2 men's physique shows and 1 junior bodybuilding show, which is great. At the beginning of this process, AJ was, well, I was very convinced on doing men's physique, and I remember speaking to AJ at the last Body Power, just saying, would he prep me and stuff, and it was an absolute pleasure to, you know, ask AJ to have him as a coach, etc. But yeah, I was completely fixated on doing just men's physique. But now that I've got to, you know, levels of more condition, I can basically see the level of muscularity I have, and I've seen my legs, and you know they're coming in quick. So especially my glutes, more needs to come off the hamstrings. But in terms of my quads and glutes, you know, I put so much hard work into my legs. It seems a shame to cover them up with board shorts, and I absolutely love men's physique. I love the look. You know, I love everything around it, but I just love bodybuilding, and I just love, you know, all aspects of it. So I think I suit the sort of style of men's physique, but I love bodybuilding as well. So hence the collaboration from a men's physique show to a junior bodybuilding show as well. So well done to AJ for convincing me to do bodybuilding there. In terms of goals for the next few weeks, now 5.5 weeks out from Body Power, essentially we're just chipping away. I have a check-in with AJ tomorrow. I'm not sure if we're going to make any more adjustments in terms of nutrition. As I said earlier, my calories have dropped quite significantly. I'm on 2,000 on a training day and 1,900 on a rest day. So there is still more room to drop, but you know, the plan with the next few weeks is essentially just keep getting my cardio sessions in, keep getting the steps in, keep getting the food in, keep getting the training in, and just basically just be consistent and be robotic with the whole process, which is so important. You know, it's just consistency. It's being in a calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time, training heavy, training smart, resting, recovering, sleeping, making sure nutrition is on point, sprinkling a little bit of supplementation here and there, and that's essentially the goal for the next few weeks. You know, just staying calm, staying relaxed, just enjoying the process. I've got my men's physique shorts up here somewhere, I can find them, as well as my very skimpy bodybuilding shorts, trunks. These are from Iron Monkey. I mean, look at them. So look, yeah. So I mean, it's probably not the best look. You wouldn't want to be walking around town in them, but you know that's what's needed for bodybuilding. I really like the colour, amazing quality. I was gonna go for silver, but then I thought I'd look like Magic Mike or something like that. But yeah, they're cool, really comfy. And then these are my Hurley men's physique shorts. You know, loads of lads wear blue ones. I wanted to go a little bit different, so I've got the stripe in there. I also have another pair downstairs. I've got 2 pairs of men's physique shorts. I need to order another pair of these, just in case shit hits a fan in terms of losing pairs of shorts, or if anything goes wrong. Especially travelling up to Scotland, I want to make sure I've got everything with me. So I'm going to bring a few pairs of them, you know, just to make sure everything's on point. I wouldn't want to go through all this hard work and lose a pair of shorts, so that's why I've got plenty of pairs as backup. Okay, so the next part, going away. Now, in around 10 days time, I'm going to Morocco, a place called Marrakesh. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a nice a few days away from everything in the UK. But obviously prep life is coming with me, dieting's coming with me. So, you know, this is something you guys can take away from this video. And I just want to say that preparation is key, okay? If you don't prepare, especially going away, especially in a dieting phase, it's a recipe for disaster, essentially. It's gonna be an absolute nightmare from a stress point of view if you don't prepare, okay? So, how I'm going to stay on track, how I'm preparing for this process of just going away, which may seem like a really tiny thing, but when you're in a dieting phase, when you're in a contest prep phase, going away can be a little bit of a nightmare. Now, if my mum's watching this, or my dad's watching this, or my sister's watching this, they'll be very aware that you know, I'm a little bit nervous about going away, but I'm putting things in place. Me and my mum just went to Costco yesterday and bought pretty much everything there that is appropriate for going away in terms of dieting. We bought the whole shop of Tupperware, basically just bought loads of Tupperware. We've managed to find this basically it's like a mini microwave like steamer thing, so I can still cook my egg whites and like rice, and apparently it cooks chicken, but I'm not sure if I trust that. So I've bought some like canned tuna, which isn't the nicest thing, but at the end of the day it's got protein in it and I can track it. So I'm bringing pretty much every single bit of food that's going to go in my mouth on that holiday is going to be brought with me. It's going to be difficult, but you know, at the end of the day, I love this process, and I want to step on stage knowing that there's, you know, been no stone unturned essentially. So you know, preparation is key. I'm going to have to make sure I've got lots of water on board. I'm bringing my carb sources, bringing my protein sources, and everything else will fall into place from there. There is a gym there in the hotel gym. It's not the best gym, so I might have to find somewhere else to train. But you know, it's not optimal, but at the end of the day, what is optimal? Probably the most optimal approach would be just being at home, but at the end of the day I don't want to do that. I still want to go on this holiday, I want to enjoy myself, but I'm just going to have to make sure everything's on track. Everything will be on track, I promise you that. You know, I'm very relentless, I'm stubborn, so I will make it happen, absolutely no doubt about that. In terms of, obviously I'll get my steps in, get my cardio in over there. I will have to make do with the gyms there. Of course, it's not. I don't think Morocco's particularly. I don't think Morocco's the mecca of bodybuilding, but I'll make do with what I've got. And at the end of the day, it's only four or 5 days, so I'll make the best out of that situation. Okay, so how do my days work? Every morning or every night, I essentially make a daily plan. Now, you'll be able to see this on my phone if I show you now. My daily plan looks like that, if it'll focus. There you go. I make a daily plan. Now, on my daily plan, I plan everything, okay? Absolutely everything, from the tiniest thing, whether it's, you know, just chilling, watching TV, playing a bit of Xbox, or going to do my steps, or going to do my cardio, do my training sessions, get my meals in. Essentially, I'll plan everything. Now, I'm going to give you a quick overview of my day-to-day sort of activities and how it goes. So essentially, I get up in the morning, brush my teeth, do all that stuff, go downstairs, have a coffee. I then get in my car, drive to the gym, do my 30 minutes of cardio. Once I've finished my cardio, I then go and do some steps on either I go for a walk outside or I do my steps on the treadmill. I then come back, I have my breakfast, I'll do a bit of online coaching, online client work. Then from there, if I have any uni assignments or uni work, I'll then crack on with that, get out of the way. Then throughout the day, basically from there, my day is free. You know, from there I make Instagram content, whether it's you know, workouts or just posting generally about my day. I then eat my meals throughout the day. I then have my pre-workout meal, which is usually oats. Obviously, oats are very, very filling. I like oats. I have oats pre-workout most of the time. I usually just sit over there on my desk. I then watch, you know, usually a bit of Jordan Peters. I'm a bit of a Jordan Peters fanboy, so I'll watch some of that whilst I'm eating my oats, and I have a coffee of that as well. I'll then drive to the gym, train the session of that day, come back, have my post-workout, go to bed, make a plan for the next day, and I essentially rinse and repeat that day in, day out. It's pretty robotic, not much changes other than that. The odd you know, social activity might occur somewhere in there, but to be honest, that's how 90% of my days work. And then on a rest day, I try and keep myself busy, so I'm not always thinking about food. But rest days basically occur like that, other than the training and the pre-workout and post-workout meal. In terms of nutrient timing and just keeping myself relatively full, you know, I have relatively medium-sized meals throughout the day, just to keep fullness there and basically prevent me from craving anything. Lots of water in the system. Prep has made me realise I have I don't have a coffee addiction, but I do like a bit of coffee. So, you know, I need to be careful of that. AJ said only 3 to 4 cups a day, so I have to keep on top of that. But yeah, that's basically how my days work. Okay guys, so coping strategies. Now, as I said, prep can get difficult, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't have my ups and downs. So essentially, coping strategies just allow you to make the process of prep, or make the process of a dieting phase, a lot more easier and essentially put you in a position where you can cope through situations. So my coping strategies are essentially making sure I'm in a stress-free environment, or an environment that's as stress-free as possible. Now, whether that's surrounding yourself with people that are supportive of you. My family is incredibly supportive, my friends are incredibly supportive, and that links with having an extremely tight circle. I have a very tight circle of friends that are all incredibly supportive, as well as my family and my sort of network around me. They're incredibly supportive, which is one of my coping strategies. I don't tend to bottle things up, but I'm pretty bad at speaking about things, but just being around my family and my friends makes basically the process of prep a lot more easier. So if you're struggling in prep or a dieting phase, make sure you've got a nice support network, a nice sort of friendship group, and a nice tight circle. In terms of just basically, another one is basically just remembering why you chose to do this process. So when you're out at the shops, or when you're maybe out on just going on some steps and you see some nice food, or you're like, oh, I really want that, which, don't worry, I've had that before. I've walked past, on my way to uni, I walked past Starbucks and all that, and I see all these muffins and cookies, and I'm like, oh, I'd love them. But at the end of the day, muffins and cookies aren't going to get me fat loss results. So you just need to remember again why you start this process. And if your why is big enough, your why will completely outweigh everything that comes in your way. I promise you that. Whether it's getting up in the morning early to your cardio, or getting your training sessions in, absolutely smashing your training sessions, eating food that is relatively eating food that fits into your macros and your daily plan, your why will it just completely demolish all the difficulties you faced, providing that your why is big enough. So I've spoken about this before on my Instagram. Just make sure your why is big enough, okay? So that will help you cope with a lot. And then nutrient timing from a hunger and meal perspective. If you're in the morning, you're smashing out a piece of toast and whole eggs and bacon, the rest of the day you're going to have no calories to play with. So just make sure you're on a consistent meal plan, eating the same thing at the same time, and that's going to help with basically hunger levels. I prefer to have relatively little and often meals. I probably have 6 or 7 meals a day, but they're relatively low calorie, and they're split up throughout the day, which basically helps with hunger levels. Okay guys, so the truths and essentially the dark side of prep. Now, this is something I think is very important to talk about, and not enough people display their thoughts on this situation. Prep is an emotional roller coaster. It really is, and a lot of people don't understand it. And when you say you're on a diet or things like that, people just brush it off, and they don't actually realise how difficult this process is. This isn't me complaining, but this is just me educating you about the sort of truths of prep and how it occurs, and what goes on in the process of prep. So you just need to remember that in order to prep and in order to lose extreme levels of body fat, you need to be in a prolonged calorie deficit. And that has its effects, mentally, the majority of the effects are mentally. It's a very mentally demanding process. If you see me looking over to the left, it's because my phone's there, so that's just why. But it's an extremely hard and extremely difficult process. And if you don't have things in place to help you, like I mentioned with the coping strategies, a tight circle, a great support network, it's going to be incredibly difficult. So before you embark on a fat loss phase, or a prepping phase, or a competition phase, just remember and just realise what you're getting yourself in for, because it is not a walk in the park. It is difficult. You need to make sure all other elements of your life are relatively in check before doing this, whether that comes from a sort of social perspective. Do you have the people around you that are supportive? Careers, jobs, financial situations. Prep is an expensive process. Gym membership, supplements, You know, food shops. I go to Tesco's or Sainsbury's every other day to buy like food. It's an expensive process. Chuck a coach on top of that, and you know, filming equipment if you're going to document the process. And then just things on top of that, just day-to-day activities. It can be a very financially demanding process. So you need to like bear all these things in mind. This is not me trying to put you off from prep. If anything, it's me encouraging you to prep and go into a fat loss phase. But you just need to be mindful that you need to be in a situation where you need to be ready. You need to be in a situation where things are optimal. You're never going to find an optimal approach and an optimal time to start going into a fat loss phase, but you need to be quite a few other elements of your life need to be in check before embarking on a fat loss phase. So I just wanted to remind you of that. You will be hungry, you will be tired, you will be moody. Just ask my friends or my family what I'm like when I'm hungry, and they'll probably give you a very clear representation of what I'm like. It's difficult, it is really difficult, but it's part of the process, and I really do enjoy it. Social life takes a hit. You can't go down to the pub every Friday and Saturday, you can't go out clubbing, which, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm over with for a very long period of time. You can't drink alcohol, you can't, it's quite a restrictive lifestyle, but at the end of the day I love it, and if I didn't love it I wouldn't do it. So before embarking basically on a fat loss phase or a competition prep phase, you just need to be mindful of essentially the consequences and the suffering you may go through. But at the end of the day, guys, this is meant to be an enjoyable process. It's meant to be a fun process, and that's what it is for me. I absolutely love it. But I just wanted to highlight to you essentially not the negatives of prep, but essentially the truths and the more dark side of prep that people don't really think about. So hopefully that gives you an insight. Okay guys, so my long-term goal as well as short-term goal in terms of competing, essentially. Okay guys, so my long-term and short-term goals in terms of competing. Now, my long-term goal and long-term dream in terms of competing would 100% be obtaining a British title with one of the UK's natural bodybuilding federations, either the BNBF or the UK DFBA. That would be an absolute dream of mine, as well as going to a world finals as well. That would be an absolute dream. That would be incredible. And then ultimately, in the long term, obviously at the moment I'm just focusing on getting through this competition season and enjoying it as much as possible, but the long term goal in terms of my physique goals and competitive goals would 100% be obtaining a natural pro card. I believe it would be with the WNBF. So that would be my long term goal in terms of competing. So yeah, that would be an absolute dream come true. So I just wanted to say, guys, with all the support recently, whether it's via Instagram or YouTube, the support in terms of you guys messaging me on how I'm looking and how I'm doing in terms of prep, it's completely blown me away. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being so supportive, following my journey along this prepping phase, along this competition phase. I'm going to bring my absolutely best package possible. It's going to be incredible. I'm working hard, so don't worry. I'll do you guys proud. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you. It really means the world, and thank you so much for the support. If you did watch to the end of this video, just comment prep life, just so I know you guys watched the end of the video, because I know it's going to be quite a long one. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of the Pursuit of the Physique. It means the absolute world. Thank you so much for the support, guys. If you haven't already, guys, please like this video. Comment down below prep life just to make sure you watched the whole video and I'll know if you watched it. Drop a comment, whatever you'd like. Make sure you subscribe as well. It means the absolute world to me. And thank you again, so much support. It's been absolutely overwhelming. So thank you very much. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Cheers. See you in the next one.